welcome back. Today we're going to be going into the swamp, and over the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'm going to show you all the tricks and tips I use to really help you become an expert at everything swamp. But first, we're standing in front of Halder because we're going to gamble. So let me clear this stuff out. There we go. So yeah, we've got a little bit of money burning a hole in our pocket. I see there's an iron mace here. That's 500 coins. It would be nice to get an iron mace. We're going to be looking for Bone Mass's stuff, his spawn. So I'd like a mace. We're just going to buy this and hope that it rolls well. Here we go. Did not roll well. But it is an iron mace, so it did save us having to craft one. It does, yeah. It's got a roll. That's all right. We'll stick it away. You win and you lose. Now, the items that you're going to want to bring with you into the swamp are definitely a swamp key. That's how we're going to get into the crypts. You get that from killing the elder. That's probably why you're here. You're going to want to make sure you have some poison resistance mead, because a lot of the stuff down there poisons you, and we just don't want to have to deal with the poison damage. It makes you take a lot less damage, and you'll survive a lot better by just having some on you. The other thing that is nice to have is a couple healing mead. Always good as a backup in case you are taking a lot of damage. A lot of things are going to be shooting at you and jumping you or biting you in the water. So having a couple healing potions is good. I've got 3 different food on here. Also, I'm playing epic loot and have some items that give me big boost to my hit points. So I'm sitting at 141 health. That's, 25 on that item, and I think my ring is 25. So if you're playing with a loot mod, an epic loot type of thing, hit point gear is also one of the best rolls I tend to find. Additionally, you're going to want to bring mats for a portal. So surtlings, fine wood, great dwarf eyes, and I'm bringing mats for a cart because we're going to be loading up down there. We're going to be trying to empty out multiple crypts. We've already been in one crypt already just to get enough iron back here to learn some recipes and make a couple things like a bunch of nails for a big boat. So we already have a portal down there, but we're bringing another portal, and I will show you why. I mean, this is our portal here to the swamp. We're going to go on through, and then I'll talk to you on the other side. So we've already established a beachhead, if you will, a foothold here. I'm going to be doing most of my exploring during the day. I think that's the way to do it. That's the important thing to remember, is that at night, there's more spawns. They're worse. They're harder. They're scarier. You get wraiths and whatnot. So explore the swamp during the day. And what you're looking for during the day is more crypts. Ahead of us is a crypt. This is one I already started emptying out, and we're gonna get over to that. Now, one of the things you want to do is build a workbench. Look, I can see another crypt right over there. Great. Excellent. Building this workbench here blocked spawns around the crypt, which is nice. And that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. Like, usually I'll put my workbench right near the back of the crypt here, and that way I can get up on top of it. This gives me a position to scout from. This makes me, while it does make us vulnerable to arrows, it obviously means that things can't get us to strike us up here unless it's like a jumping blob or a flying wraith. So at this point, I'm going to put the portal down that I already have ready to go, because we're going to be using this place for sure. So I'll just put that down. We have a no-name portal back at home. So this portal is going to link up with that no-name portal, so we can just go back and forth with anything we need to drop off there. I'm also going to put a cart out front here, because we're going to be digging this stuff out and loading up the cart with as much as we can. We're really close to the coast, which is good, because when the cart is full and we've got enough iron and we're ready to move on, we're just going to take that and wheel it out. I'm just going to throw all these other mats in here. Take that, wheel it out to the coast, put a workbench and a boat down, and move on out. But, oh, son of a... Yeah, that happens. So, abominations, not the best thing to fight around here, but it is daytime. I wanted to scout a few things out before I got into a tussle. It's okay, we can soften him up and run around. I wanted to talk about one of the best tools for this biome, and that is not the bow, although the bow is nice anywhere. It's actually the hoe, and I'll tell you why in a second. Great, he's wandering off, so that's fine. So with the hoe, we can level the ground, and I talked about this in the last episode as well. We can raise this ground up, and the importance of raising the ground up is because the leeches that bite you and poison you, nice reminder there to drink a poison resist potion, they're down in the water. And if you go along and level up the ground, you'll see here, I just kind of surfaced one. So that makes them easier for you to spot, to avoid getting bit. They're slowly going to try to work their way back into the water, and you can just pound them with your Stagbreaker, hit them with a spear, whatever you want to do to fight them. The other thing to consider is you have a cart that you're going to be dragging from crypt to crypt. And having level terrain to do that with is useful. We're just going to light that guy up a little bit again, and then we're going to take out our hoe here. We're going to start leveling terrain in the direction of that crypt right there. That'll be a straight line, pretty straight shot. Seems like not a bad idea. You'll see here off to the right, this is one of the other dangers of the fire swamp. No, one of the dangers of the swamp will be these spawners sitting over there. There's a bone spawner and also a Draugr spawner. The first one is the Draugr spawner. The thing is, if you get close to these things, they'll start spawning creatures. If you stay far enough away, you can actually take them out with very little spawns. While you might think, yeah, I want to fight creatures, I'm here to fight creatures and get their drops and stuff like that, these spawners can end up spawning a lot of bad guys that will hurt you pretty bad. I find it's better to actually fight these from above. You can get better targeting on them. I'm less worried about the bone spawners than I am the Draugr spawners. Getting a starred Draugr to spawn, sometimes the bow, the starred bow, there we go, got them both. Now, sometimes there's multiples. See, there's another Draugr spawner right on the other side there. So once I get close, that's going to start spawning guys. I'm going to get in here and just start stabbing it. Oh. Well, I can't stab it. Oh, 2-star. Ooh. That's a bad... Yeah. That almost killed me. And it's not so much the... melee Draugr that I'm worried about, even though he hits really hard. It's the bow Draugr. Oh, I died. Yeah, that happens. So, so my advice would be to kill the Draugr spawners from far away. Long story short, I guess. All right, well, we are going to chug some food and jump back in there. Well, those Draugr are going to be attacking my cart. I'm going to hope that they allow me to get to my body here. It's the 2-star that I'm really worried about, I guess, now at this point. I was going to say it's the bow guy. I mean, I'm sorry, it's the bow guy I'm really worried about at this point. Not the 2-star Draugr, even though he clearly can kill me in one shot. You want to make sure you don't run out of stamina when you're sneaking, otherwise you'll stand up, and that won't be cool. So, the bow Draugr is not dead, and the 2-star Draugr is resetting. All right, so we got all our items back. We gotta equip our stuff here. We really kind of want to get these guys taken out before... I forgot that spears don't do a good job of, like, striking the ground. It's the drawback of them. But we really want to get this spawner down before nighttime if we can help it. Alright, spawner's gone. However... Oof. You basically just... I don't have the strength to get hit by this guy. I don't even want to, like, pretend that I do and take a hit just to see or anything. I will block. Kind of, oh, there's the... Sounds about right. Oh. Whew. I dodged that. Yeah. Wow. Glad I got an iron pick. Too bad it wasn't something more fun sounding, but, you know, whatever. Usually these stone circles here will have a chest, which this one does, with a magic shield and some bones to spawn. Withered bones are used for spawning bone mass. Oop. I mean, I could... Nah, I don't feel like fighting that guy. I'll take him later. So, as I was saying before, using the hoe, we can level terrain out. One of the things we could do, too, if we wanted to make sure that the spawners didn't come back here, would be to put a workbench down. If you put a workbench down, it blocks spawns of anything in its radius. And that would include respawns of spawners, as far as I understand it. So that would prevent this place from becoming a bad, you know, a bad situation again. It's not completely necessary, but again, we're sort of using our stamina, kind of taking our time a little bit as we go to kind of level up the ground to make it an easier time of getting our cart around, and also to pull up any... Yeah, I know. You're just gonna keep being a pest here, buddy. Or, you know. Or he's just gonna wander away. That's the nature of them. So, while we're here... I mean, I can open it, but... Oh, look. That's one of the things you want to keep an eye out for in the swamp as well. I'm gonna pause here for a second. There's a gout of flame ahead of us. Actually, I'll zoom in. You can see it there. That's a flame around which surtlings will spawn, and that is a really good source of surtling cores, no matter what game you play. And if you're playing with epic loot, it's also a potential good way to get some items farmed up. If you're going to stay in the swamp 24/7, consider exploring during the day, like we were doing, but now that it's nighttime, go and dig out the crypts. Go and collect all of the iron and stuff, and let those night spawns just kind of be there and be gone. By the time you're done digging out one of these crypts, you may find that night has passed and you're back in the daytime. You could also go back to your base and just sleep it off, make sure you get your rested bonus, etc. But we have 8 minutes left in our rested. I'm going to talk real quick. I'm not going to, like, play out the entire mining of this crypt. There's footage last episode if you want to see a longer dig out of that. I'm just going to reiterate that Stagbreaker, anytime you have walls or things blocking between rooms, doors and whatnot, Stagbreaker is a great way to scout out for enemies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slam this on the other side of this muddy scrap pile over here. There's no damage coming out. I don't see any damage numbers going up. I don't hear anything reacting to the damage. So I have a pretty good idea that at least directly on the other side of this muddy scrap pile, there's no creatures. If I go over here, something took damage, so I know that there's a creature on the other side of that scrap pile. Now I can keep swinging. Sometimes there are things like chests, but I can hear the Draugr noise. I can also see the yellow numbers go up. Whenever a yellow number goes up, something's taking crit damage from your Stagbreaker. In the case of being inside this crypt, it's probably going to be the slimes. If I was in the Black Forest burial chambers, it would be a skeleton that would be taking crit damage. But in this case, it's going to be... There's probably a Draugr over there still, so he's still taking damage. But at this point, they're mostly dead, so I'm just going to start digging through with my pick. This is where you get most of your iron from. You'll also get a lot of iron from these chests in here. Now, I already took a bunch of iron last time. There's still a couple pieces left and a couple items I left last time because we didn't have all the boat space. We didn't have all of the... I'm just going to throw that in there. We didn't have all of the nails for the bigger boat yet. Last episode, I brought back enough iron to make all the nails so we could get the big boat going, and that got us to the point where, you know, now we can go dig out a whole bunch of crypt, basically 2 or 3 crypts worth of stuff, even if we feel like it, and we'll have enough room in our boat to get everything back. You can't take back iron scraps or any sort of mined scrap, copper, iron, silver, etc. You can't take any of that back through a portal. You have to transport it physically back to your base. I'm just going to peeking around this corner here. Yep. There's some leftover oozes from the ooze, some entrails left over from the dead Draugr that was in this room. But Stagbreaker, it's your best scout. You could chop away some of these things with a pick and look in the room. That's one way to do it as well. But Stagbreaker, just, you know, by smacking the ground, seeing the damage numbers go up, I know there's 1 or 2 Draugr on the other side of this scrap pile. One, you know, there could be a torch. Torches take damage. Like if I go over here, like, see, watch, this stuff will take some damage too. So the chests take gray damage, reduced damage, not white damage. So white damage could be a torch, but if it happens more than a couple times, you know it's going to be a Draugr. Plus you can hear them making noise when you damage them. I'm going to pause the action here, and then when I'm done looting all this out, I'll show you everything I got on the outside. And just a quick note too, you may, you know, find your pick's going to break down, your cart, you could load it full of lots of stuff, like the loot that I'm getting out of here. But there's a lot of stuff you can actually take back to town. So rather than just... You're not just going to fill up your cart and go shovel all that onto your boat. You can take back everything that's not ore and deposit it into your various chests back at your base. I did get a legendary buckler that dropped. The rolls on it are pretty good. It's weightless. That's always nice. The slash and lightning damage reduction are nice as well. The slash particularly because there are a lot of things, Draugr, skeletons in particular that come to mind, that do slashing damage. So having that defense is really good right now in the swamp where we're at. The block stamina usage is also really nice because if you're going to try to parry or block someone, using up less stamina each time you do it means you can counterattack a lot more readily. Just to give you an idea of like a lot of the stuff that came out of chests so far, all these magic items I'm going to take back and break down. Some bronze, you know, the rolls on that armor is okay, but like I have 25 hit points on my leather pants, and I value the hit points more than I value the armor at this point. Eventually I will value the armor enough to make the upgrade when it's a big enough of a jump. Okay, it's daytime, and I talked about scouting during the day, and I've scouted down to another crypt that's really close to where the surtling spawner is. See those little fire guys? They will shoot fireballs at you. They are no joke. Kind of scary, particularly at first, but our favorite tool for the swamp, the hoe, is going to help us beat these guys. So this is where you want to, okay, first of all, we do want to get rid of any leeches that are around. So that guy right there needs to go away. Because what we're going to do is get ourselves, oh, here they come, get ourselves down in the water, and then we're going to start leveling the ground underneath these guys Yeah, that hurts. And by leveling the ground out underneath of them into the water, they will quickly catch, like we catch on fire, they catch on water, I suppose, and will water to death. So that was a little hectic because there were 3 of them, and being that one of them was like bright blue, I think that made him like a 1-star. But you just avoid the fire as much as you can to limit the damage you take, and you just stay down in the water and level it to where they drown, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Now, this Gout of Flame is their spawn point. And if we come over here and take our hoe and just level this out, you can do this with a pick too. Obviously, the hoe's easy for fighting them right off the bat. Actually, let's raise this up real quick and get rid of that guy. Alright. Let's kind of clear that out. So, the hoe is another crypt. Wow. This place is crazy. The hoe is faster, obviously, for leveling ground, initially. Now, there's only a certain level, unless it's like right on the water, there's only a certain distance you can level it before you have to take your pick out. There's an oozer back there. See, we can only go this far down right now. But what we can do is take our pick out. Well, we're going to fight this oozer apparently first. They don't take a lot of damage from shields. The normal way to fight the oozer, not the way I fought him last time, is to keep him out of your reach. If you keep doing this knockback like that, he won't be able to do the poison gas attack on you. And same thing with these blobs. You just fight him that way. You just kind of keep him at the reach of your Stagbreaker and keep walloping the ground, and it'll take him out. Now this thing, before more guys start spawning, we're going to knock this down into the water. The flame will still be there. The surtlings will inevitably respawn. But usually when they respawn, by doing this, they'll respawn into the water. That looks pretty close. We just need... Got to get rid of some of this surface rock here. We just need a little bit of water. It doesn't have to be super deep. You want it so that you can actually walk on it. Why am I doing this? Well, if you look at my inventory, I have 3 surtling cores. Those dropped from the surtlings. So this is a really easy way. We can run around looking for burial chambers again. Or other means of finding surtling cores, but this is going to be actually a really nice way to get a hold of them. Because eventually, by the time I get over to this crypt, the surtlings will have respawned. So that'll be 2 or 3 more surtling cores that we get to loot up. And like I said, by knocking this down to the height of the water, they're going to take care of themselves pretty much right from the get-go. We should basically just be able to walk over and loot surtlings. The surtling cores, sorry. That's how we know that we got this right. These guys will spawn and immediately tap out from the water. All right, there we go. I'm gonna mark this spawner on the map with a flame. I feel that's appropriate. Okay, surtlings, and then I'm going to run over. We still got some daylight. I'm going to run over. I'm not actually done looting the first crypt. Wow, there's another crypt. There's more crypts here for a single player. There's more crypts here than I would even worry about marking on the map. If longer enduring world, or if you have multiple people you're trying to equip an outfit, if you're playing in vanilla and you're not doing epic loot, You're going to want to mark all of these guys for sure, because you will be emptying them out for all of the iron that you need for all of your upgrades. Oh, you hear that sound? That was the sound of a surtling spawning and dying. Yep. All right, looking pretty good. Oh yeah, you also get coal. Yeah, there we go. 3 of them. And a bonus skeleton who caught on fire. Great. Oh, he gave me a... Oh! No. Apparently don't count your magic items while you're sitting at the table. The leech is over here, too. I feel like it's getting dark because everybody's showing up. That's the only drawback to leveling this stuff out, you know, down to the water, is that, well, it makes you a little more vulnerable to leeches. But yeah, so more surtling cores. I got a magic hoe out of it. I don't need those bones. Stamina plus 25. You know, maybe that's a good upgrade. But yeah, that's fine. With multiple players, you'd want to be probably clearing a lot of the stuff out. I would maybe like to get the treasure chest that's over there in that mass of things, but I'm gonna wait and do that later because like I said, I've got to get back to the first crypt. So I'll see you when I'm done emptying it out. Now that we've covered the surtling stuff. All right, well, we've done it. There was one really extremely long wing that seemed to go on forever and even go down in the water and back out of the water. Just ridiculous. And then this was a dead end, and this was basically a dead end with nothing to show except whatever we cleared out of the hallway. Iron-wise, this is what we got in our cart so far. This was from our... Now remember, we already pulled 20 out of here previous session. So we now have another 76, which... that covers all of the base upgrades for sure. It's going to cover creating a lot of iron chests, upgrading some gear, crafting some gear. We could probably use, just personally as a single player, even though we're using epic loot, we could probably use a little bit more iron. If you were playing with a friend and you're not playing with epic loot, you would want even more, like twice as much iron, maybe even 3 times as much iron easily. But for one sunken crypt to pull out 76, 96, almost 100 iron, I would say is a solid score. We're going to take the rest of the stuff back. I'll show you how I transfer from one base to another. I mean, oh, hey, while I'm here, I'm also going to take out that wraith that's floating up there in the air. So if I can get the drop on him, I could hit him with an arrow. That'd be really sweet. If I can't get the drop on him, well, that missed. I don't think he noticed me, though. That might have also been a miss. He's definitely looking now, since he's lowering himself down. Oops, that was a miss for sure. Oh, here he comes. He sees me now. All right, well. Nope, don't want to get hit. Yeah. And I forgot I don't have any room in my inventory because of that. So let's switch to our two-hander. So you'll notice when he swings, he sort of pauses. You can kind of step away from that. You usually get a chance. The faster they are, the worse it is. The knockback on the Stagbreaker is what is allowing me to sort of keep him at arm's reach at this point. I don't have a lot of health, though, so it's a little bit risky, but we won't out. They'll drop chains. Also, he dropped a banded shield. Man, I should probably pick that up just to double check. And also, I accidentally picked up the bones that were on the ground that I had thrown on the ground last time I was here. That's why my spear stayed out of my hands, which... let that be a lesson. Faint and block on health critical. The nice thing about the banded shield is it's going to have more block power than the bronze buckler that I'm using. So I may end up switching to it, but because this has 4 rolls on it, I'll probably stick with this right now, particularly because of the slash damage reduction and the block stamina usage. Those are two nice things to have. But anyway, now that I've killed everything in the swamp, the only thing left in the swamp is to find bone mass. There was no Vegvisir down in the sunken crypt. That's where you're going to find them at most of the time. There are sometimes stone towers that will have Vegvisirs in them. And once I find one, I will show it to you so we can figure out where the guy's at. We've taken back most of the stuff. We just have iron and a couple other items left in the chest over there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to break down this portal that we have. We're going to leave the workbench up. Again, it helps block spawns. Our portal down to the swamp is still north of us here, and so having, you know, some spawns cleared along the way, along our pathway, isn't a bad idea, particularly if we die again. But otherwise, we're just gonna grab our cart that we've got and start rolling to the next crypt. Now, I didn't see any crypts over along the water's edge. I kind of like staying, if I can be close to the water, that's cool, because when it's time to leave, we can just kind of slide over to the coast, drop our giant boat in the water, load it up, and get out of here. But otherwise, we've already made the terrain relatively like flat enough that we can kind of get from one crypt to the other. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit more just to give us better progression here. And we can just wheel our cart up to the next crypt. Well, deal with this skeleton here first. Okay. Sometimes if it gets too hairy, you can just disengage from the cart. Otherwise, I wasn't too worried about it. If there'd been a lot of skeletons or an archer, that would have been bad. But here we are at the crypt. Even with, you know, even with a spear, which is not the best weapon against skeletons, because we're forcing a crit on them, it makes short work of them. So I don't even bother switching to an axe or a mace or some item like that. Stagbreaker, again, is also good, particularly against groups of enemies, but not a big deal. Anyway, so we're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to put up our portal again. That way we have our exit. It should connect up. Yeah, there we go, momentarily. So now we've got our route back to base again. We can repair, rest, do whatever we need to do to get ourselves prepped to go into the next crypt. And we're going to keep repeating that over and over again until we both find where bone mass is and we get enough iron to feel like especially because there's so many crypts in this area, you know, we want to basically get enough iron out of here to feel like we've defeated the swamp and have enough iron to basically craft all the gear we need to craft, both to fight bone mass and to tackle the next biome as well. Off in the distance here, I can see a large stone building above the ground. I don't normally scout those out too much because they don't have iron in them, but it's possible it contains a Vegvisir. We're going to actually, even from here, I can see either there's a spawner up in there or there's the red glow of the Vegvisir. So it's either a bone spawner. No, I think that's a Vegvisir. Let's just circle around here and find out. It's daytime. We're relatively safe. I'm not leveling the terrain, but I'm feeling kind of confident in myself. We're going to get up. We're going to unequip that so we can jump higher. We're going to get up on top of this tree here. We're going to try to get up on top of this tree. And see if we can spot. Well, there's definitely a Draugr in there. Looks like a Draugr Elite because he's only got one arm. Yeah, that would be a Draugr Elite, but there's the Vegvisir right there. So we have to kill this guy. And it could be a Draugr spawner around here too, so that's going to be... The best way to approach these towers usually is through the open door so you can see the spawner and maybe take it out. The other way is approaching it from the backside and trying to take the Vegvisir out through the wall. We're going to try that right now. I'm going to make sure I'm topped off for food. I've got one potion for my bar. Our escape route is okay. There's that elite up there, but we're gonna look for that spawner, and that's gonna be the first thing we wallop. I can hear the sound of a spawner. Yeah, it's up above. Right. Yeah, it's not, there it is, right there. So, I don't see an archer, I see a couple elites. I don't think they can hit us from here, but we can definitely hit the body pile from here. We're just gonna keep whamming and hope that we can take that down before all these rocks break. I think we should be able to. Alright, it's gone. Sweet. Now we just gotta finish off these elites. That shouldn't be hard either. We just don't want to be high enough up that they can hit us. Alright, that's pretty good. I think I can get him from here. He comes back down. Come on, buddy. Wants nothing to do with me. Oh, there we go. There are two of them. I think one must be stuck up there. There we go. The right angle. Alright, he's down. This is why I like recalling on the spear. I've talked about it before. My favorite recallable weapon is actually a Stagbreaker. It's the reason why I will take a Stagbreaker and upgrade it all the way in Epic Loot if I can. Because throwable recalling on a Stagbreaker gives you throwable AoE damage. It's pretty amazing. Alright, no big drops off of those guys other than some entrails, but we found the Vegvisir for bone mass. He is, hold on. Sorry, I thought I heard a noise. I have to crouch. So he's way to the south. Well, not way to the south. I mean, well, he's not farther south than my base is to the north. So that's not terrible. Straight shot. That's not bad at all. In this case, we don't have to keep going down in crypts to look for the Vegvisir. We just need to finish up digging out, looting that crypt for however much we want to loot it. Ooh, plus 25 hit point bronze leggings. Great. That's amazing, actually, because we've been carrying these 25 hit point, 25 health magic leather pants forever. The 25 health now means we can completely get rid of the leather pants. We can upgrade. We can get some bronze, make sure we have bronze, upgrade these a couple levels to get our armor up even higher. Yeah, great. I'm just going to pop by here real quick to see if... There we go. And that's what happens. Now that one is a starred one, but he's no match. He's no match for the water. There is a archer? Yeah. Yeah. So, some free drops. An iron sword. That's kind of nice. Wow. What's going on here? Oh, that's not nice, though. Gotta get rid of this skeleton trophy so I can pick my spear back up. There we go. Alright, well, no room in our inventory. We're gonna have to drop some bones here. But, I saw a couple interesting items. There is a fine wood bow. We already have a fine wood bow, but with explosive shot, which is okay. It does a little bit of area damage. Not great, but not bad. This imbues frost and explosive shot. We're definitely rolling with this one, for sure. That little bit of frost damage will slow things down. Things that aren't immune to frost, which will be great. I don't use a bow a whole lot, particularly if I have a recalling weapon, but it'll definitely have its uses. And then a sword, stagger, and physical damage. Actually, a pretty solid roll. Bone mass is vulnerable to blunt, though, so we're still going to be going with an iron mace for sure for fighting him. I just wanted to pop back and look at, real quick, the items we got out of that one crypt and fighting back and forth a little bit against some mobs. I'm not going to go and mouse over all of them. There's a lot of magic items. We're going to disenchant almost all of them. I did get a troll hood with, you know, some discovery radius I'm going to play around with. We got that nice bronze leggings and a couple other weapons and stuff like that that we're probably going to keep or mess around with. We also got a whole bunch of things we can sell for gold to the merchants, so we can gamble for more items. We got a bunch of coal, mainly from the surtlings. That's going to be the other reason why you want to knock out those surtling fires and turn it into a farm almost. So rather than having to burn a lot of wood to get coal, you can just go to your surtling farm, get your surtling cores, which we got. We're up to 15. I think we were down to 0. So it's a really good way to get a lot of surtling cores and coal, and if you're playing with epic loot, magic items. Anyway, that's it. Next episode is going to be using one of our portals down there as a launching point to go after Bone Mass. We'll scout him out and prep for the fight and initiate the fight against him. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to leave any comments or suggestions that you have down below. And don't forget to touch the monkey over in the corner and subscribe. Thanks a lot for your support and your time. Take care.